Hello, welcome to Tier Nerd. This time I will be looking at anime that start with the letter C. So I'm still going in alphabetical order. This time we have 8 anime. So let's see. First, we have Charlotte. Charlotte was really good. I kind of liked it. I don't know if I'd quite put it in A tier, but maybe high B tier. To be honest, like I think really high B tier because it was kind of an interesting concept. With the supernatural abilities and yeah, it was just, I think it was better. Like it seems like the kind of anime that wouldn't be good, that would be forgettable, but no, it's actually kind of good. So I thought Charlotte was a bit better than the average. um, at the I don't know, it got kind of cliche near the end, but then again, a lot of anime get cliche near the end of the near the end of the story. But yeah, I think it was a pretty an interesting original concept. Let's see. Then we've got some of these more forgettable anime, like this one. Let me give you the Japanese title. Um, Chujin kokusai tachi wa isekai demo yoyu de ikiniku yo desu. Anyway, so it's one of those like light novel esque anime. High school prodigies have it easy even in another world. So yeah, that's it. That's the name of it. So yeah, this is another one of those like forgettable isekai animes. A little more kind of ridiculous. I think C tier is very fair for a lot of these anime. So yeah, about high school geniuses. They're all good at something, and they end up in in a alternate world and like a fantasy world, and then they help the people in that world. Develop their country and all of that. And that sounds great, but it just gets kind of cringy with how they do stuff. The story, like interesting concept. Like this is like sometimes there are interesting concepts in anime, but just so poorly executed. So okay. The next anime is Chuni Bio, or let me give you the full name. Chuni Biodemo Koi ga Shitai. Um, Yeah, it is just another overrated anime. I don't know which one's better or worse. Um, yeah, I think I might put this one lower. Like this one's kind of famous. I think on my anime list, it actually has a decent rating. I think it's kind of overrated. I find the main character really annoying. Just the whole concept is just kind of dumb, to be honest. Like it's like pretending to be a superhero or whatever. Like it just kind of cringe. Like I understand, like there's some depth to the story, but just the way the story told just kind of boring. So yeah, it's kind of cringe, and it's just wasn't particularly interesting. Um, it's just one of those few times I'll actually disagree with public opinion. Um, let's see, Clanid, or however you pronounce it. I watched this a long time ago, so I don't remember, but I think it's probably decent. I think B tier, maybe. Yeah, I think it's a decent B tier anime. I do remember enjoying it. I don't think it's quite high up there. I think it's not. I think it's a bit overrated, but I did enjoy watching the first season, and I thought it was pretty fun. Um, yeah, I think it was just a pretty enjoyable story. I'm not usually into slice of life stuff, but it was pretty decent. I never watched anything past the first season, but I've considered it at some point. Maybe I will. See, then we have Claymore. I don't know if I should put it in low B tier or really high C tier. I might put it in low high C tier just because I just don't like the aesthetics of Claymore. It's an action. It's like an action anime, and there's a lot of fighting and all of that. Like it's got a lot of good stuff. You know what? Maybe I will put it in low B tier. I think it deserves at least low B tier on second thought. And so it's got a lot of that, and it's kind of dark and gruesome, kind of like a dark fantasy in a way. But I think what bothers me is sort of the aesthetics of it. It's I mean the main character's a girl, and pretty much all of the fighters are girls, and which would normally be fine, you know. Like I've watched plenty of anime where there's a lot of girl fighters and everything, but Claymore just goes about it in a really different way. Like um, this anime is what I would call women on steroids. That's what this anime is. It's like you're going to be watching a lot of women with like giant muscles on steroids. Just yeah, like nobody's no like very few women in here are even close to feminine. It's just a bunch of women on steroids. Um, so yeah, it's a decent anime, but just as a dude's like as being a guy, like some of the stuff in this anime is just very off-putting. Just the aesthetics of it in a lot of ways. So I just it's decent. It's a good anime. Just but some there are aspects of it that just make me want to drop the rank up a lot lower. So I'm gonna put it maybe on the lower end of the B tier. So I think it's decent. I just some of the just aesthetics of it just don't appeal to me. Okay, finally we get to some classics. We got Code Geass and we got Cowboy Bebop. So I split up. I have two Code Geasses here. So the first one is the original Code Geass, and I'm going to be ranking it. Going to be ranking Code Geass, the second season of Code Geass, and the movies. I'm not really ranking the movies. I'm just ranking the original Code Geass anime. Now, this second one here is going to be is let me give you the title of it. That's Code Geass Bokoku no Kito. So this was like a spin-off series made many years later. It was split up into 5 movies, and the reason I'm ranking it separately is because this is like a separate it's like a separate story. So when there's a separate story and the cast of characters is different, I'm gonna rank that as like I'm gonna count that as like a separate anime. If it's like in the Code Geass universe, but it is a separate story. So first, the original Code Geass. So for me, this is an S rank. So this is the first S rank in the videos I've done. So for me, this is one of the rare anime I actually gave a 10 out of 10. Like it's just to me, it's just a classic. I don't know if it was because I was still in high school and I just got access to YouTube and I was watching all of these anime online all of a sudden, and Code Geass just happened to come out at that time. I don't know if that's what it is, but there's a lot of nostalgia, from Code Geass. It's not the first anime I've watched. That would probably be like Digimon and Dragon Ball. Digimon and Dragon Ball Z. Those would be like my early anime nostalgia. But Code Geass is something I started watching around high school when it was coming out, and I just thought it was amazing. Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, were coming out at that time, and that was just like, in the Death Note, the early 2000s, mid 2000s, that was like a golden age of anime. There's a lot of really famous anime from that time, and Code Geass is one of those amazing anime. So I just like the story; it just flows. Yeah, like I just like the main character. He's kind of like an anti-hero, and there's parts that are maybe cliche, a bit cringy at times, but overall, I always thought it was pretty solid. It always kept me interested. Code Geass kept me interested. It didn't follow a predictable path, and it's very unique among a lot of anime. So I just still think it's a great mecha anime, even if you're not into mecha. I do not consider myself a fan of mecha anime, but generally anime that have mecha in them tend to be very serious and mature anime. And so I would definitely say Code Geass is up there with the greatest. So if you haven't watched it yet and you're an anime fan, then you probably should. I mean, you've probably heard of Code Geass. It's definitely one of the top ranked animes. Anime, so it's not just my opinion. Like this is a well established popular anime. Let's see. Then we have Code Geass Koku no Kito. So C tier or low B tier. Maybe low B tier. Like I thought it was decent, but this is kind of like a spin-off. Just like an average spin-off anime. It takes place in the same universe, but different cast of characters, and it was just kind of average, it doesn't have the same epicness, awesomeness of the actual Code Geass. This is just a spin-off anime that's decent. It's not amazing, it's not terrible. I don't know what else to really say about it. It was just split up into 5 short movies, and I'm grading it separately because it's like a separate thing. So I think I'll grade it kind of maybe a lower B tier. I think it deserves at least that. Yeah, maybe higher than Claymore. So it's kind of obscure. So this is like an obscure anime that I'm ranking above Claymore here. Um, Finally, we have Cowboy Bebop. So now I know some people would be like, "Oh, easy S tier. It's a classic. It's amazing." So this is one of those cases where I just do not agree with popular opinion. Um, Mid B tier. I don't know. Putting Cowboy Bebop below Charlotte. I don't know if that's fair. I don't know. Like, it's okay. Maybe I'll put it. Okay, like I'll put it above Charlotte. I'll give it that. Maybe it's around there. It's mid to high B tier. That's where I rank Cowboy Bebop. Like it's the first few episodes were good. Like there's some good stuff at the beginning, and I mean they have some very powerful episodes, like good ones, and the world is the build up of the characters and the setup and everything is great, but unfortunately, like after a while you notice that this show is just fillers. Like there's just a bunch of filler episodes. Like the second half of the show is almost all fillers. Like it's all just random episodes almost strung together until you get to the end. There's only really like a few episodes that are key episodes and that are like really vital to the plot. Everything else is just fluff, like seriously. And I feel like that gets overlooked a lot when people talk about Cowboy Bebop. Um, there's just a bunch of stuff that doesn't really matter to the plot and mention. So you don't really get as much character development as you would have liked. Like the characters are interesting, but they actually do not get as that much character development. Um, like honestly, if you really think about it, Cowboy Bebop, the story could have been retold as like one or two movies. That's about how much character development they get. Um, and maybe if it was just a 2 hour movie, this I would have given it a higher score. But it's a 26 episode anime that just kind of has strings, a lot of filler in it. And some episodes are very powerful, but a lot of them are just kind of like random, and you kind of wonder like what was the point of that episode? And so yeah, so I mean, it kind of prevents me from giving it a super high score. Like it has its good moments. Cowboy Bebop is definitely powerful, but just like a lot of classic anime, I feel like people have people's nostalgia goggles just don't let them objectively evaluate the anime. And I see this in a lot of classics, like Akira, Neon Genesis, Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo. Like some of these anime are good, or like they are good, but they're not like S tier. Like they're not as good as people say they are. They're overhyped, and so Cowboy Bebop just kind of belongs into that overhyped category. Like it's still decent, but just not as good as people say it is. So yeah, like, and like just people just don't discuss these flaws. Like they're like, oh, it's amazing, and that's it. Like they don't really describe why it's amazing. They just kind of like, um, it's like, yeah, they just overlook a lot of these flaws. So yeah, I think Cowboy Bebop's decent sci-fi. What I do like about it is that it's kind of more, it's more of a realistic sci-fi. They people can go to Mars and Jupiter, but not like super far away or anything like that. And it tries to be a little more realistic than most sci-fi anime. But as far as the story, like interesting concept, it's a little dark. It's like it's got some comedy and it's dark at the same time. So it's very serious anime. Honestly, it's got some depth to it, but sometimes I just wonder what direction. I just thought that there's just too much filler. Like there's it's like powerful episodes mixed in with a whole bunch of just average filler, lackluster episodes. So that's it. That's my review of B tier, not B tier, but of anime that start with the letter C. And so far, Code Geass is the only S tier anime. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos.